Hi, my name is Albert Zhou. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to share with you some of the findings of my recent research. And the topic for my today's talk is policy competitiveness and the global influence of the Chinese language. As you know, we have been witnessing many changes and challenges regarding the global linguistic ecology. The national strengths of certain countries arising from economic growth and social transformation has helped elevate the global position of their languages. And among all these languages, Chinese has especially drawn global attention because we have seen a rapid increase in the number of learners and second language speakers around the world. And also, we have seen there being a continuing rise of China's global influence in trade, international politics, tourism, and finance. Now, I've been using the modified version of Language Comprehensive Competitiveness Framework, which was proposed by Zhou in the year 2021. He defines language comprehensive competitiveness as emphasis on use of the language and promotion in language planning and language policy of governments and international organizations. And I've been trying to observe the global influence of Mandarin Chinese, focusing on the specifics of Chinese policy competitiveness in the global context in terms of three key indicators. First one, official language policy. The second one, second foreign language education policy. And the last, language policy of international organizations. Well, basically, I've been doing a secondary analysis. I try to examine the results of research studies in the relevant government and the legislative documents, and try to observe the major developments and the current status of the Chinese language in relation to its global influence over the past 2 decades. Now, the first, official language policy. The first point that I want to mention is the official language policy in China. One of the major developments is in the year 2001, China published its law on the national common language and the characters of the People's Republic of China. And another development was the 13th five-year plan for national language development. And according to that plan, by the year 2020, China's national Putonghua, which means the Mandarin Chinese literacy rate, had reached 80.72%, which was an increase of 23.66% from 53.06% in the year 2000. The second point that I want to mention is the bilingual education policy in ethnic minority regions. Shortly after China opened its door in the year 2080, there was the proposal for strengthening education among ethnic minority regions, which emphasizes the importance of compulsory bilingual education, which is the ethnic language and also the Mandarin Chinese education. A recent move was in the year 2021, when President Xi called for promoting the use of standard spoken and written Chinese and respecting and protecting the learning and the use of spoken written languages of ethnic minorities. The third point I want to mention is China's global strategy to promote Chinese. And we've known China has implementing a large program which is called Confucius Institute programs. And we've seen the development of Confucius Institute program along with the Belt and Road Initiative, which started in the year 2013. Although there has been much skepticism and criticism, as of September 2023, 152 countries and over 30 international organizations from 6 continents have signed up to the Belt and Road Initiative, including 52 from Africa. And the total number of Confucius institutes and Confucius classrooms around the world has reached 1,722, covering at least 162 countries and regions on six continents. The last point that I want to mention is the Chinese education in Hong Kong, Macau, and outside the People's Republic of China. As in Hong Kong, the government has been implementing the policy of Liang Wen Sang Yu, which means biliterate and trilingual, which aims for literacy in 2 written languages, Chinese and English, and fluency in 3 languages, English, Cantonese, and Mandarin Chinese. And in Macau, both Chinese and Portuguese are recognized as official languages. So children, they study both languages in their schools. Mandarin Chinese also enjoys official language status in Taiwan and in Singapore. Now, the second point, second foreign language policy. Chinese as second foreign language education policy. Over the past 2 decades, teaching Chinese as second foreign language has been developing very rapidly as an academic field, as well as a very promising career choice. The macro acquisition of Chinese is taking place around the world. And some of the examples, for instance, it has become a compulsory subject in Kenya primary schools from grade 4. And also it is one of the compulsory subjects in Saudi Arabia in its Vision 2030. Even in English-speaking countries, more and more people begin to learn Chinese. And we've known the most well-known case is the UK's Mandarin Excellence Program. Now, by the year 2021, 76 countries had included Chinese language learning in their national curricula. Mandarin Chinese was taught in over 180 countries and regions around the world, and over 20 million people outside China were learning Chinese. The revival of interest in Chinese in the Sinosphere. Sinosphere refers to the place where Chinese characters are used or used to be used in writing, including several countries in East Asia and Southeast Asia like Japan, Korea, and Vietnam. Now, Chinese heritage languages education. Recent decades have also seen a growing interest in learning Chinese as a heritage language in many countries and regions around the world. And this boom in Chinese language, heritage language learning has been largely driven by China's impact on the global economy. So Chinese heritage language learning, to a large extent, contributes to the growing popularity of Mandarin Chinese around the world. Now, the Mandarin Chinese is one of the 6 UN official languages. It is an official language of the United Nations World tourism organization since 2021, alongside English, Spanish, French, Arabic. It is also one of the 6 official languages of the International Criminal Court, and is one of the 2 official languages of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization since 2017. Some other global organizations, such as IMF, the World Bank, and the WTO, they provide Chinese interpretation and translation services and/or offer Chinese language resources. Now, the conclusions. In terms of policy competitiveness, Chinese has extensive support in the language planning and the language policies of governments and educational institutes in the countries and regions where it has an official language status and is spoken natively. In respect of second language, foreign language education, Chinese has a significant role. However, Chinese has a comparatively limited role in terms of the language policies of international organizations. Well, we know that Chinese has been identified as one of the most important languages for future global prosperity. Therefore, continued efforts to observe Chinese in the global context will enable us to be more responsive to the changes and the challenges in an increasingly globalized world in terms of language policies and educational practice. Further inquiry should include both potential and pitfalls surrounding the global spread of Mandarin Chinese. This is the list of major references. Thank you very much for listening. You may contact me at my email address. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's conference.